Good morning.
How are you this morning?
We're good, thank you.
Did you get a newspaper?
No.
Oh, well, this is my tent here. I was just talking to our blacksmith. Is this a house?
It's a jail.
Oh, this is a jail.
Yeah.
Get in there.
And this is all fake, right? Like this is.
No, these are all actual built with the exception of the one next door.
Well, I guess we just start at this end and work our way down. This is even more old westerny than Virginia City. This is cool.
Hello.
Oh, hello. Oh, wow. It's actually working metal, like forged in fire.
How you doing today?
Good.
How are you?
Hoping it stays cool as I am. I'm not real hopeful though.
Is that blowing air in from underneath?
What's that?
Is that blowing air in from underneath?
Yeah, it's just this is a hand crank blower. Traditionally, it would have been like a bellows. Safety-wise, these are a lot safer now than the old bellows. Those are old originals. So.
Oh, those
Back
things in the
when
back
we were
over
out,
there. Okay.
We use a hand crank here. So it just blows air in the fire, and more oxygen makes more heat out of the fire.
What are we making?
I was just playing around with a new nail header right now, trying to figure out the sizes I gotta use. So when you make nails, it's a taper, and then there's so much you can leave to make the head. So this is a new nail header for me, so I'm just kind of playing around with it right now. Getting used to it.
Yeah, that's an old-fashioned drill press right there.
Okay, I see.
Don't get your finger stuck in there.
So when I make it longer, I make it square first.
Okay.
Then I can start drawing it out. You see it's already starting to taper to it.
So what would these nails be used for?
Just putting stuff together around the...
Okay, so not like a small nail for like cabinet making or something. That's like for putting.
I mean, cabinet makers of the day pretty much did joinery. They didn't use nails at all because nails were so expensive
Okay.
to make. So they used the time to make a wood joint, like a mortise and tenon or dovetail, something that would hold together on its own. But if you were building something bigger, you needed nails.
Gotcha. Like so, buildings.
Buildings, pretty much, yeah.
Very cool. All right, thank you.
You betcha.
What's this over here? This wheel thing.
Oh. I don't think he heard you. I think that's for sharpening knives.
Oh, yeah. Well, this would be a fun job to just keep doing this.
And there's the saloon.
What's the saloon?
Saloon's another word for bar. Criterion Hall.
You think we could actually get some water here?
Everyone needs water. But I also told her.
Oh, you can get water.
And you need a cowboy to go with me.
How are you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
Good. Having a good day so far?
This is a good start.
Awesome.
What are we playing? Mandolin.
Mandolin. Yeah, my wife is normally here. She plays the bass, but she's playing hooky today.
Learned it in a day, so. Yes.
People, you know.
Yes, I know. You guys can come in if you want.
So this is a Tinsmith.
We're at doggy place this weekend.
We love dogs, so
We
it's
got
all
4
good.
dogs, I think. We might have 5.
Candle holders, tin cups.
It's So do tinsmithing. When we say tin, we mean tin plated steel, not pure tin, like with a coppersmith or a goldsmith. There were tinsmiths here in 1864, 1865, because they put ads in the paper, so we know they were here. So tin is like the plastic of the 1800s.
Okay, that's an interesting way to put it.
Yeah, so lots of things we now make out of plastic are made out of tin. As well as some things we now make out of stainless steel, like coffee pots and teapots and cook pans. So,
What's the solder on the inside here? That's not lead, right? Because people need to be able to drink out of that.
right, traditional solder was 50% tin, 50% lead. But as you mentioned, we frown on that nowadays because of lead. So modern tinsmiths use leadless solder, so it's mainly tin, 96 to 100% tin.
Okay.
But back in the day, they didn't know better, so they used lead.
All their cans, they had canned food. It wasn't terribly common, but it was available. And all your cans were hand soldered. So a period can looks like that. So it's got a side seam that has to be soldered. The top piece has to be soldered. The bottom piece has to be soldered. The top and bottom pieces look like this. The top piece has a hole in it. That's where you put the food in. Then you solder a disc over that. And then you put it in a hot water bath. The disc has a hole in it, lets the steam out. So you take it out of the hot water bath, then you put a blob of solder on that disc. So a period can will have a solder seam here, then it'll be a blob of solder in the center of the can.
Interesting. So that's when you know it's a real can and not a reproduction or anything like that?
Well,
What?
well, you can make a reproduction can.
Okay.
Well, you're like, whisper.
But I'm talking like if you're going for a waste dump or something.
Oh, okay.
And no one's going to reproduce a can to throw in a waste dump, so.
Yeah.
So if you see a can with the top looks like this with a disc in it, and then a blob of solder in the center of that dates to as early as around here, it couldn't be any earlier than 1860s, but as late as the 1880s.
Neat.
Reminds me of sheet metal.
Pardon me?
It reminds me of sheet metal.
Well, it basically is. So, as you look at tinsmithing manuals from the 1860s through the 1930s, you'll see how they start to shift from doing kitchen utensils and storage boxes and coffee pots and stuff to duct work and vents.
What's this?
Well, that's duct work.
Yeah.
Or do this really quick. Take this out, put this in. But the way this works is, you start with a flat disc, you put it in the machine, you tighten down the wheel on it so it sits between the two wheels. You crank the handle, and it turns the disc like a record.
Okay.
Okay, but that doesn't bend it. What bends it is, as it's turning, you start lifting. So you're constantly cranking, it's still turning, and you're lifting. So that way you get the 90-degree bend you need for a bottom. Okay, and then you solder it on. So that's the easiest way to do it. If a double seam, the side of the cup isn't straight, the side of the cup is bent out 90 degrees. When the bottom fits on it like that, and you knock the edge of the lip of the bottom onto the edge of the cup, then you bend the whole thing up. So that's what that stake's used for, is for this last bend. So you have 4 thicknesses of metal. That joint is generally watertight. It doesn't require any soldering.
Oh.
So soldering is done with this as a container to hold your charcoal. We use charcoal for soldering as a heat source. So you put charcoal into about here, you light it off, and you put the soldering copper into the charcoal to get hot. So it's called copper because it's in piece of a solid piece of copper. So it goes in there to get hot. While it's getting hot, you need to put a flux on the seam. The flux helps the flow of the solder and also prevents the formation of tin oxides. And the tin oxides, it's like rust, so it won't take solder. So you put the flux on, you take the soldering copper out, and I stick it in a container of water and flux to clean it off because it's going to get ash from the charcoal. And when I stick it in the water, it tells me how hot it is also. So if it just sizzles, it's not hot enough, it needs to go back in. It goes go, psht. It's nice and hot, so I then touch it to the solder, get molten solder on the copper, and I just pull it along the seam. Or if I have a place I can put the solder, like here, I can put a piece of solder there, take the solder and copper directly to it, and just mount it in place.
And you've done all of these items out here?
I've done everything except that candle mold.
This.
Yeah, I didn't do that. I didn't do the dippers over there on the counter, and I didn't do the buckets.
But like you did the toys.
I did the toys. As far as I know, I'm the only tinsmith that's reproducing period toys.
Oh, neat.
The toys are adorable. You should do more toys.
That's pretty stable. Sheriff, I'm the sheriff of the town. You ain't the sheriff of the town. I'm the sheriff of the town. The sheriff seems to get a big room on it.
Oh, look, hangman's noose.
What's that? Oh, for hanging people?
For hanging people.
Cool.
And then I'm guessing like it's right here.
And these are like handcuffs, which I could totally get out of.
Leg irons. Yep.
Which I could totally get out of. Oh no, I'm stuck. I can't even read this one.
Hey, look, Chinatown. There's an early reloading setup there.
You think they play like soccer on?
think that's somebody's old cabin? They live in there?
What's this?
Looks like a medicine chest. What's it? What does it say?
It just does.
Cough mixture.
Crotch powder, shaving soap.
Might need some of that.
What can I do for
Pardon?
you? What may I do for you?
Oh, we're just looking around, having a look-see.
For a second, I thought that was blood.
Oh, and this was the mortuary
Probably was.
over here, huh?
No, I'm not a mortician. But I'm looking for one.
The Undertaker.
He left, yes, he left. He decided his health needed to be somewhere
Hey,
else.
don't we?
He pissed
Well,
off.
bone saw is what they used to cut
Yep.
legs off with.
And arms.
And arms.
Heads, whatever.
You sound so used to it.
That's the before pan, and the other pan is the after pan. What they look like afterwards.
Oh, okay. After they hit, before they hit a body, and then after they hit the body.
So that can turn into this?
Yeah. After it hits bone or what have you.
So maybe that's why it hurts so much.
Oh yeah. Well, it'll get your attention.
You can be. I have been told this morning the price has gone up a little bit, up to 25 cents. So if you think you can afford that from your day's wages, we could definitely, we've got mashed potatoes coming. We're cooking bangers and mash for lunch. Green beans, we have some, we're able to get some lettuce in on the wagon train. And it wasn't melted. And this fine young lady is making up some lemonade. So,
That's really cool. He's actually cooking on that old cast iron stove there. That's
Yeah.
really neat.
this is how we cook breakfast and lunch for everybody up here.
That's awesome.
It smells fantastic.
I don't know, I could smell it from outside. It smells a little garlicky, like.
Well, I was hoping to go for a lot garlicky, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, a lot garlicky. It does smell a lot garlicky.
Are you familiar with bangers and mash?
It's an old Irish dish, isn't it?
British, English.
Okay.
But I'm sure everybody's got their bangers and mash. Mashed potatoes, obviously, you've got that. Bangers are a British sausage. It was brought about when meat was in poor supply. So the butchers, what they did, they made sausages, but they added more water and more bread. And then they put them in their casings. And so when you're cooking them on the stovetop, they would actually, the casing would actually crack and bang.
Oh.
So you'd get that snap bang of them cooking on the stovetop, hence the bangers. And then the gravy that goes over the top is actually a red wine onion gravy.
Okay.
And so far, what you're smelling is the onion and the garlic mixed together, a few other little spices, and you get those down into a caramelized goodness. And then from there you add your stock and your gravy, and you just put it all down into a thicker, what do they call it, remoulade?
No.
I don't know what the fancy word
We
for
they call it
gravy. And then we, like I said, we've got some green beans and
Oh man.
cooking it up.
That's awesome.
And you are not the first person to come in and say it smells good, so it means I'm doing something right.
Very cool.
So
Thank
where are you folks from?
We're up from the Seattle area over in Washington. So
Okay, okay. First time here?
yes,
Okay.
but not hers.
You know, I don't think I've been to Nevada City before, but I grew up in Montana.
It's that Sunshine Biscuit Company from the Food That Built America. I think I found the original Facebook office. Tell you what, people used to live a lot more simply. I found the first Walmart. This is how they used to sell stuff back in the day. That's how you buy your potatoes, all your dry goods, everything a miner or a family would need. They didn't use Square or PayPal or Venmo back then. Bulk goods, dry goods, clothing. Store-bought shoes, books and entertainment for the kids, buttons for your clothing, little bit of everything. Movies, TV shows filmed in Virginia City and Nevada City. Little Big Man, Montana Bound. Let's see if I recognize any of these. Return to Lonesome Dove. I do remember the Lonesome Dove series. The Patriot. Interesting. Now I have to go back and look at that. Any bullet will do. Now I have to think about the Patriot. Oh!
Mel Gibson, I think.
Yeah, but it's that little town where the guy with the tin ear and the fake leg used to live in, where his daughter married Heath Ledger.